success. All right. For those of you who can hear me, I'm also multicasting to Clubhouse. So if you'd like to listen in on Clubhouse, I'm doing a live multicast. And yeah, we're going to go from there. For those of you who are just starting to join me here on YouTube, for those of you who are actually getting the information, I had just mentioned that YouTube's a little bit wonky today and it did not allow me to schedule the stream or even try to put any information in the stream before I went live. So we're just gonna roll with the punches and keep going. Do you love your camera, but wish some of the buttons were easier to get to? This is how I fix the situation. I get out my trusty hot glue gun and apply a small amount of glue on the desired button. It makes any button easier to click. Also, it helps identify buttons without having to look. It's non-destructive and protects the text from wear and tear. Mr. Camera Junkie's tip of the day. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Oh, let me bring down the music. All right, that should be okay there. All right, well, welcome all as always to the live stream. My name's Lewis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills and not your gear. I do want to iterate once again. I'm waiting for people to come in to see what's going to happen. I did not have the ability to schedule the live stream, and I'm running a live stream at my regular time, but I wasn't able to really notify anyone, so we're just waiting for people to start coming in, and we'll deal with the chat and we'll roll with the punches, as we say. So as always, we started with our tip of the day, and I would always like to say hi to the people in chat, but I don't see anyone dropping any information there, so we're just gonna get right to it. If you are watching this on the replay and you have any questions, please be sure to just leave them in the comment below, because I will address them, whether it's directly within the comments or it could be a question that I answer here live and in a future live stream. So today we're going to be talking about overlays with Canva and Final Cut Pro. I've been able to utilize Canva or Canva Pro subscription, which is a web-based, I would say, promotional or design program. It totally doesn't replace what we would call a Photoshop, but I find myself using Photoshop less and less every day, and every day I find myself on the Canva website. So it is a very useful service that I'm getting from Canva, and today I'm going to highlight some of the features that I think make it as good as it is. Well, Canva is like a complete marketing system, because it gives you the ability to do anything that you want when it comes to the design space and in the design world. I was fortunate enough to come across this program, and I've been able to use it to create shirt designs. I have pretty much made every thumbnail that I use for my YouTube channel on Canva, and one of the main reasons why is because it's super convenient. Now, comparative to like a Photoshop, I do have the ability to actually manipulate all photographs, and I still find myself using Photoshop for more high-end photography and blemish removal. But my day-to-day content creation, thumbnail making program, I barely open up Photoshop, because of the reason that what I would mostly use it for is to create like cutouts, or what we would call like just PNG files with transparent backgrounds that allow you to manipulate photographs and just place them wherever you like in a thumbnail. So there is a feature called background removal, and I can take pretty much just any picture, and within seconds Canva has the ability to completely remove the background and give me a downloadable PNG that I'm able to manipulate however I desire. So even though I have the ability to do the same exact thing with more high-end programs, I find myself constantly going to Canva because of the ease of use of this program. The Pro subscription is around $12 a month. Excuse me. But you don't even have to have the the Pro program. There's a lot of features that you can use to get started to see if this is something that you like, absolutely free with just signing up with your email with Canva. But when you actually pay for the service, you really unlock all the benefits of that, of the website. And like I said, the background removal is pretty much just worth it by itself when it comes to the Pro subscription. The program works completely like on the cloud. It's a web-based program, so you're gonna log into canva.com, and once you're in that program, I've noticed that it has so many benefits, for the simple reason that how it is web-based, you don't have to worry about your computer's system minimum requirements. You can log into canva.com from your phone. There are apps for it, but I've noticed that using the web-based utilities gives me the best results, and that also gives me the ability to log in from any computer. I could even go to, worst case scenario, you can go to a public library, log into canva.com and totally utilize it on just basically any computer. And the reason why I say it like that is because you don't need to own the computer. You don't need to install software onto that computer. And it really doesn't matter whether you're using a Windows PC or a Mac computer. All you have to do is have access to the internet. You can run this off Linux, and as soon as you log into the Canva website, you have all the tools at your disposal. Another good feature about this is that it is web-based. So let's say you needed to get a project or retouch or configure or adjust something that you have done in the past. You have the ability to take anything in Canva and just research your history. And because even, let's say hypothetically, you can be on a vacation and you're not nowhere near your actual computer, you can use any computer to log on to this web-based service and utilize it from anywhere in the world. These are features that I found to be so ideal because it doesn't matter where I'm at or what type of computer that I'm using. I have the ability to look at my files, and they're kind of being held on like a cloud storage on the Canva website itself. Now, I did talk about, that we were going to use it to create overlays, and the overlays that you're seeing right now on the live stream, which I have some missing because that's what we would need. There we go. Clicking these on. All the overlays that you're seeing, including the motion background that you're seeing around the live stream, I was able to create just last week in Canva. The easiest thing is to try to find a looping background. Now, here's a little pro tip if you decide to actually get Canva. Canva Pro gives you the ability to search up a variety of stock videos. Now, there are a plethora of stock video websites, but the fact that a $12 subscription gives you access to basically unlimited 4K images of videos of whatever you want and a search engine that applies to it. So I just go into the Canva, like search. I go into the videos tab and I search for any type of video. Now, it's there for marketing use, so that if you wanted to create a PowerPoint presentation or anything, you have stock footage of, and I mean thousands of files, and I've been able to utilize them in my own YouTube videos without any issue. And because I'm paying for the service, there's no copyright issue either. I have the access to these files and I'm able to use them. So when I was making a video recently and I decided to, you know, talk about like weddings and, you know, like, you know, wedding ceremonies for wedding photographers, I didn't have any videos that I could have utilized, and that's when, you know, it kind of sparked on me, you know, and I was like, I can just search Canva instead of going to, you know, some other type of website to download, you know, stock footage when I already have access to this platform. So I was able to download a variety of different clips and I used them seamlessly into my videos, and I tested it out and had no problem. So that's another added feature that I'd say I think anyone would pay $12 a month to have access to stock videos that they can use for pretty much about anything on pretty much anything. So that's one of the biggest things that I think that most people don't even realize and don't utilize with Canva or with the Canva Pro subscription. Yeah, they have thousands of templates whenever you want to create a design for anything. And when I say templates, it could be as simple as you want or as complex. They can, like, you know, give you complete control over your design, you know, creativeness, or they can hold your hand and ask you for everything step by step along the way with these Canva templates, because they're designed to make it as easy as possible. Now, once again, I reiterate, when I first got onto Canva, I really wasn't expecting much, especially, you know, from a $12 subscription service. And I have been blown away because, like I said, I constantly find myself going back to this website and utilizing it for so much more. It's kind of like a reference that I use, you know, a hammer is a hammer, but it really depends on who's wielding it, because somebody can just grab a hammer and only use it to hang up picture frames because that's as far as their skill level will allow them to, and yet a experienced carpenter will build an entire house with that same hammer. So I've realized that this Canva Pro subscription service is more like that hammer in the experienced construction worker or carpenter's hands. And the more that I've dug into it, the more that I've been able to get out of it. And I think hands down, this is probably the best deal that you can find if you're just starting out in your content creation journey. Now, yeah, I was mentioning that everything that we have here that you see on the screen was created in Canva, including the Buy Me a Coffee support, you know, like a little widget here that I've created. I made that specifically just messing around, and that's started like this uncovering of the possibilities of Canva. Now, the way that I use it to implement it with Final Cut Pro is how I created the overlays. So give me 1 second. I need to hydrate. Now, with Canva, I actually created a video where I show a little bit of my process in creating a file with a green screen kind of cutout, and then using Final Cut to actually just use the key or the chroma key to remove that section and give you a usable motion video overlay right using Canva, using everything from Canva, and using Final Cut Pro to finalize the process. What I've been able to do is, because I've been doing everything in Canva, what I did was I just created a PNG file of the cutout that I'm going to use for my live streams or for any overlay, and I just created that as a separate file and downloaded it. And then now that what that did was just open up the door for me to actually do a little bit less in Canva itself. So now I was just using Canva to find a high quality loop video. And what I mean by a high quality loop video is like the video that we see here, that you can't tell at the point where the loop starts or the loop ends. So it's a constant, infinite, seamless circle. And that's basically the only thing that you would have to look for in Canva. You would look for background videos, and you would have to go through the process of just using a couple of key features to how to like look for these types of loop videos, because not every video is, you know, able to be 100% like an infinite loop. But Canva does have a particular section where it is completely designed on these like loopable videos. So I just highlighted those and just put purple like loop video as my search, and I was able to find something that I was very pleased with very easily. Once I had that video, I downloaded, I think it was like a 10-second loop, and I downloaded the file, and like I said, the highest quality 4K, threw that into Final Cut Pro, and right on top of there I threw the cutout file that has the green screen on top of that video, and it sits perfectly every single time. So no matter how many video loops I can imagine or can create or would like to make, the only thing that I would have to do is just bring that video to Final Cut Pro, throw the green screen overlay for my video cutout on top of it, and then like marry those files within Final Cut Pro. Once that's a solid singular file, then I throw the chroma key or the keyer on top of it, cutting it out and exporting the file. It takes seconds, and it allows you to basically make any type of overlay feasible through, well, what I'm using is Ecamm Live, but the same way with this format, you can use it with OBS, Streamlabs OBS, and just pretty much anything that gives you the ability to apply an overlay, whether it's a live stream, or you can use these same overlays for your actual content that you're creating in Final Cut Pro and just exporting it as a completed project. So the possibilities are pretty much endless when it comes to Canva and Final Cut Pro. I've been able to do so much with it that it really does surprise me. I'm at the point where I'm not paying for an Adobe suite on a monthly, because the amount of money that Canva has been able to save me has been worth the entire program in itself. Like I said, I have older computers where I have my photography Photoshop already programmed into it, and I do not have the subscription service for that, so I don't use the cloud-based Photoshop, and I'm happy with it because everything that I use as far as Photoshop, which is very minimal, is standalone, and I'm very happy with the flow or workflow that I've been able to create with this system. And it's all been to the thanks of Canva. I really am like pleasantly surprised on how much I've been able to just dump into this program, and it's just been able to handle all of my workload. So extremely happy with that. And yeah, and that's pretty much it with Canva. I'm gonna go ahead and look at the chat and check things out, see if we have any questions, see who actually was able to show up. Okay, so we have Randall. How you doing, Randy? And also Kippy and Randy are in the house here. How we doing, everyone? All right, Joey's also here. He's saying, yo, what's up? He says, my cameras flicker, both of them do it. Maybe it's the A10 mini, maybe it's auto white balance thing. Actually, it's most likely your shutter speed that's giving you a flicker. Now, I would ask you, Joey, would you be able to put in the chat what frame rate you're using on your cameras. Are you shooting at 24 frames a second, or are you shooting at 30 frames a second? Because that can make the difference. I've been using budget RGB lights here, Amazon like wireless Wi-Fi bulbs, but I've been very happy with them. I've noticed one thing, that like certain situations I was starting to get like what we would call flicker in the lights, and that has to do with the speed of the light itself, the hertz rate, and the frequency of your kind of refresh rate or your shutter speed on your camera. What I was able to pick up, and I want to give big props to Gerald Undone, because he was doing a live stream where he referenced that he actually is using his camera at 30 frames a second, which is the same frame rate that I'm using. And traditionally, to get a like adequate motion blur out of 30 frames a second, you would put it at 1/60th of a second on the shutter speed, which actually doubles the the frame rate. So if it's 30 frames, you double that to 60 frames, or 1/60 on your shutter speed, and that will give you a good motion blur, which is basically just doubling, or the 180-degree shutter angle. Now, once he did that on his live stream, he noticed that his A10 mini started to flicker because of the LED lights that were behind it, which similar to the ones that I use for the color casting here on the live stream. What he mentioned was that even though he was shooting at 30 frames a second, he brought down the shutter speed to 50, or 1/50. So instead of shooting at the shutter angle of like 180, he actually brought it down to a little bit slower, and using the 1/50 that you would normally use at 24 frames a second, left it there, and that it totally took out the flicker. So light bulb turned on, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try the same thing, seeming that I actually use the 30 frames per second refresh rate on my camera for the live stream, and behold, it worked perfectly. Now I get no like flickering on any of my LEDs, and the difference between the 50 frames to the 60 frames per second, so to speak, refresh rate is so minimal that it really doesn't matter, and you don't see a difference in the motion blur. So the image still looks good, and you don't get any of like that LED flickering. So my recommendation to you, if you get any flickering in your lights, keep your shutter speed at 1/50 and bring it to 30 frames a second, and I think that should fix it for you. It says A6100 and a GoPro 7 black at 60. Cheap bulbs, A10 pushes 30. Okay, if the A10 pushes 30, I would tell you to bring your cameras to that same refresh rate, or that same frame rate. Go 30p on both of them and do the same thing. Do the 1/50 on the shutter if you have that ability. On the GoPro, I'm not sure if that's part of the software. I've never owned the GoPro myself, and that should take care of your flickering. Now, as I see that, I'm gonna get to some other news, because there really wasn't much in the world of camera news this week. I was looking at like the rumor sites and stuff like that. Nothing new. They're just repeating the same exact thing, which really doesn't have like any validity to it. We've been waiting on Sony's updates, but those come far and few. Still nothing more than just the A7 IV supposedly going to be announced in September. I did a live stream not too long ago about the Sony ZV-E10, Sony's new and soon to be coming out APS-C interchangeable lens camera in the ZV line. That camera actually made an appearance in a UK YouTube video, where it was a Sony representative speaking to a camera store owner, and he went through a lot of the specs that can be found now, but still no actual word from Sony. So I find that to be very interesting, because they paused the announcement for this camera, and they're already making videos and people have it in their hands. So I really don't see what's the wait. But I digress. Still no official, announcement from Sony about that camera. So we sit here and wait because it can't be ordered until then. Okay. So I did want to come up and start talking about a story, or like just kind of catching up with what's been going on with me. As most of you know, I started my YouTube channel to give back to the YouTube community that's given me so much. So for that reason, I started in this journey, and it was at the beginning, like towards December, where things really started changing because I started putting more of a serious effort towards the channel. That's where a lot of you found me at first, when I was doing my 30 days of live streaming every night and creating content in between. There's been a lot of things that have happened since then, and my channel has, it's starting to grow, and the Camera Junkie family, or the Camera Junkie crew, grows day by day, and I'm just ecstatic and super excited. But one of my main goals is to actually provide, the best life that I possibly can for my son, and one of those ways that I've realized it was to actually become a full-time content creator. Now, a full-time content creator doesn't only construed of just creating content for my channel. Sure, that would be ideal, but I also recognize that if I have the ability to do something that I love and provide a service to someone else and something that I'm good at, that's also a way of creating content, even though it's not necessarily for me. But if I'm able to monetize that, then that would be a great step in towards what I'm trying to accomplish on this platform with my brand and with the community and the family that we're building here on, in the Camera Junkie crew. So my main goal is to become a full-time content creator. Now, I am a photographer, who's trying to give back, and I started a YouTube channel, which has allowed me to learn a lot of new skills that I'm able to apply to my channel. Now, I was actually on a live stream of Doc Rocks. Some of you might know him. And Doc Rock got into a subject about Ikigai. Now, Ikigai is a Japanese form of understanding life. And even though I had heard of this, formula before, it was the first time that I was able to see a diagram that put it in context very easily for me. And I had partaken in that live stream and wanted to just revisit that aspect. And as I was listening to the live stream on the second time, looking at the diagram, it basically said that through Ikigai, what you're going to look for is you're going to look for something that you're good at and that the world needs a lot of. And that should be your profession, because it will allow you to maximize your profits by maximizing your skill set and doing something that the world needs a lot of. Now, the way that the world has turned, even though it's a passion of mine as a photographer, there's a lot of people who are also very passionate photographers, and then everyone with an iPhone also can take pictures to their heart's content. That right now, at the moment, I came to the realization that even though photography is my passion, is not something that the world is in that desperate, dire need of. Now, I am going to continue to build my brand because that is my passion and that's what I'm going to do. But I also came to the realization that, as a photographer, that's not something that the world needs as much as video editors. Because even though there are a lot of photographers and there are a lot of people who are creating content and creating video content, video editors are in high demand, especially now that even more and more people are starting their own content creation journeys, and that they're learning while they go, and a lot of them are just creating the content and don't have skills, and even some of them don't even want to acquire those skills. They just want to make the videos and have somebody else take care of it. So with that being said, it kind of, I had that mind melding moment, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do my best because it's a skill that I have, and now I want to polish that skill and take it from just mediocre but to the professional level of being a video editor. And like I said, take my skills to the next level, and that will be a step that will allow me to start creating content for other people, sharpen my skills, that will eventually just allow me to create more videos for my own channel. And the skills that I end up learning will not only benefit me for all the content creation that I'm going to make for myself, but for future clients down the road. So with this new idea, I sent a message to Doc Rock, and I sent a message to Doc Rock, and because in that same live stream when he was mentioning Ikigai, he was mentioning the fact that he had spoken to a variety of different content creators, and the biggest take back that he got from them was that they all wish that they would have started like outsourcing some of their work at a much younger part of their channel's growth. So people that he was speaking to were basically saying, I wish I would have started with a video editor when I was at 10,000 subscribers and not have waited when I was at 50 or 100,000 subscribers, because it was such an immense help to actually grow my channel from that point on. And at the same time that Doc Rock was mentioning this in his live stream, he had just surpassed 10,000 subscribers. So with him mentioning those things and me coming to this newfound epiphany, I basically shot him a message and said, you know what, as being a friend, fellow content creator, and someone starting to reach the goals that he set out for himself, I wanted to reach certain goals myself, and I wanted to provide myself as of service to Doc to see if I can help him do some video edits for him that will then help me sharpen my skills, for the reason that I wanted to edit videos for somebody else, because I know how I like my videos, but to make this a profession, I realized that I needed to actually be able to provide a service for someone else. So with the experience that I would learn from Doc, and also give me the ability to actually structure this as a business so that I can move forward with video editing, I sent him that message offering my services so that we can help each other. And I kid you not, it was almost like all the stars aligned, and I'm starting to set things up. And the first thing that I did, the first action that I took towards these new goals, was to send this message to Doc. And 2 minutes after I sent him the message, I know for a fact he hadn't even read that yet. I get a message from another mutual friend and sends me a direct message asking me if I actually do freelance video editing work. And it was just such a moment that I had to laugh. I was like, this isn't a what are the chances moment. It just made me realize that I was in the correct path, because things were already in motion and I was just starting to realize it. So obviously, not really having everything set up the way that I wanted to ideally, I said, of course, I do freelance video editing, and because I had already set my mind to do that. And that's the only difference, because people have a lot of great ideas, but if you don't put them to action, they're meaningless. So I right away said, yes, I'm available, because that's my new chosen path and I'm going to pursue that. So obviously, when the opportunity that I want presented itself, I was able to get in contact with this new client through referral. And I am happy to say that I just finished like doing the contract, and I was able to land that client to be my first official video editing job, because it's exactly what I had set in mind, is what I had already set in motion. So that's an incredible story, and I wish I would say that it would end there, because now that I finish, you know, being able to land the gig, the video editing gig, and I should be starting this week, comes around that in that same time frame. Doc Rock shot me a message last night and says, hey, I know it's late, but give me a call tomorrow if you're available. Excuse me, let me hydrate. So now Doc Rock sends me the message and we're on a phone call. And through the phone call, he's basically acknowledging the fact that I had sent him the message, and that he's also willing to take me under his wing. And because of me putting myself out there and seeking the things that I wanted to get, I now am going to be working hand in hand with Doc Rock as sort of like his right-hand man, helping him do video editing and pretty much anything that he needs. So you guys are going to be seeing me more with him. And on top of that, I'm going to be learning all the aspects, not only, not only all the nuances of being a professional video editor, but also how to establish the business so that I can take it forward in the right direction. So there's a lot of motivational speakers out there. A lot of people know the Gary V's, and Gary Vee is actually probably the one that says it the best. That he says, like, for someone who's looking to do something and within their passion field, what I would recommend is to go work for somebody for free. And when you do that, make yourself invaluable to that person, so that you basically create the job. And if not, the time that you spend there being, like the intern, that you're actually learning, invaluable information that you couldn't get anywhere else, because you're working in the desired field that you want to be in. But fortunate for me that I think that I've been lucky enough that Doc Rock has, found, has seen something in me, and now we're just gonna be moving forward. So this is just the next step and putting all of the pieces together to having me become my desired goal, which is a full-time content creator, where I don't have to depend on anything else except myself, and have the ability to, like I said, provide the best life for my son possible, because he's my reason why. He's the reason why I do all of this, and the reason why I work as hard as I do. And this is just a small confirmation of me following my heart, pursuing my passion, and things starting to work out, because like I'm following my gut, and they say follow your gut and it's gonna lead you, it's never gonna lead you wrong. Well, that's something that I'm learning to do more and more every day, and I'm just thankful and grateful that things are starting to just, things are starting to fall into place. So I want to thank every single one of you, who's hung out with me on a Saturday night, on my live streams. That's given me support, because this is so much fun for me. The fact that I get to hang out with so many like-minded creators, a tight-knit family where all of us know each other here, and it's been growing. Some people saying that it's growing fast, and I agree. I'm so surprised. I believe we just passed 675 subscribers in basically 6 months, which is amazing to me. And it's because I think it's been done right. I've Everyone that has found my channel and has subscribed, I just want to thank you, because you're part of the motivation of why I do this as well. I can't tell you how much it means to me. Right now, I'm just starting to get some really amazing comments. Like, I got a comment last week on one of my videos where somebody actually wrote down that after watching my video, they got it, like that they understood it, and that they felt like an expert after watching my video. Like, they didn't need anything else. Like, I explained it to the point where they were able to comprehend, and that was such an amazing thing for me. I just, as you guys can see, I stand here week in and week out consistently with this huge smile on my face, because I just stay amazed at what we're able to accomplish here, what we're building, what we're creating. And yeah, thank you once again. This has been like a crazy week. Like I said, the fact that there wasn't a lot of camera news, and I've been trying to dig something up for today's live stream, and then so many things happening, with the new clients, the new, business venture, and the new, like integration with Doc Rock. I'm at a loss for words. I'm just so amazed that so much has changed and so much has happened in such a short amount of time. So if anyone who's out there watching it, let this be a lesson, let it be a bit of inspiration. You can't let anything hold you down. I'm gonna take a little bit of a somber note, because it is something that I do want to address. I know a lot of you are just starting to get to know me here, because I've just started to put myself out there, like I said, probably within the last 6 months. But one of the things that happened last year was that I was unfortunate to have lost my mother last year, and it was just a year ago last Wednesday. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I love my mother, I miss her. And it was unfortunate, but it was a lesson that I took, and I took for the positive, because what I realized was that there is no time to waste. There's a lot of people here, and a lot of us that are in the community know that we're constantly talking about like, what's the best camera to buy, or should I wait for this, or should I wait for that, should I wait for the new A7R4 and this and that. And for anyone who can hear me now, I'll tell you, you shouldn't be waiting for anything. One thing that I've realized is that people take time for granted, and I will tell you to not do that. Don't take time for granted, because time is ever fleeting, and it's not a guarantee, because it may be a little morbid, but there's no guarantee for tomorrow. And we sit here and we wait because we're scared of certain nothings, actually. Like, they're all fake feelings that we have in our minds. And I was listening to a podcast with Peter McKinnon, and they also mentioned something very similar to that, which was, is You know, and it's gonna sound like, it may sound messed up, but I share this with love, because it's just the reality of the fact that life is a crazy ride and nobody makes it out alive. So there is no reason to waste any time. And what Peter was asked in his interview was, is the shirt that you're going to pass away in already in your closet? And that's something, you know, like very scary to think about. But I don't want to put it in a negative light, because that's why I bring up this entire conversation. You know, my mother passed, and it is unfortunate, but no matter how much I love her or how much I miss her, that's not gonna bring her back. And I really don't think that my mom would have wanted me to shell up and become a hollow representation of who I was or what I could be. And I've taken that opportunity where most people would crumble through a lot of negative circumstances that have happened to me personally in the last 5 years. And what would make more, like, a lot of people just shy away, I've been able to recognize that there is no time to waste, and that the time for you to, like, start building your dreams is now. Another good term or phrase is that, is start building your dreams before somebody hires you to build theirs. So I think that's where I'm gonna leave that comment, and I hope that you guys got the message, because everything that I'm doing now is for my future and for the future of my son. And I just want to once again thank you for joining me on this journey that I'm starting here on this amazing platform, YouTube. And we're gonna see where it goes from here. We're kind of at the halfway mark, and I'm just so excited to see where this channel and this community is going to be. I say December 5th, because December 5th would be the entire another year from when I actually started and got connected with the Let's Get Live community and Doc Rock and everything that has ensued since that point. So, like I said, I'm super excited to see what's gonna come about on December 5th and where we are with this channel. So let me get back to the chat real quick. Let me see where I have this. All right, so we have Sammy Superstar and Dr. Elo in the house. Okay, it says Adam is 1080p, also not 4K. Well, regardless if it's 1080p, it should still, you should still use the same, like, you know, frame rate and shutter speed. News is that everything is delayed. Yes, coffee makers, everything is delayed, man. It's been pretty interesting. So yeah, it says, yo, Dr. Elo says, but there's a need of learning about cameras and all the complications, especially live streaming. You're in the right path, bro. Well, I appreciate it, but that's the whole thing. Like I said, what this editing venture is gonna allow me to create more of the content that I want to make, because it's gonna give me the control that I need over my time. And time is fleeting, is our most precious commodity. We never get it back. So for that reason, I always say, yeah, like I'm so committed to being here for you guys week in, week out, every Saturday, providing value, answering questions on whatever it could be, that I'm looking for different ways to supplement my finances to allow me to be here even more, because I'm also not gonna lie, this is where I want to be. I absolutely love YouTube. You know, my name's Lewis, once again, MrCameraJunkie, but some people have also called me Mr. Livestream Junkie, and I've also been called the Livestream Ambassador, because I also love the whole aspect of live streaming, and I've been able to meet so many incredible people. Just earlier this week on Wednesday, I was able to meet in person with Alicia Way III, which is also another good time to mention that I'm also going to be fortunate enough to be on his show this Wednesday, the 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be the guest on his show, Creators on the Come Up, which is an honor, to tell you the truth. The fact that I am just starting my channel, like I am 6 months in, and to have the ability to be asked to be on this show and to be considered a creator on the come up, someone who's on his way towards his goals, means so much to me, because I remember when Alicio first came out with this series and I was amazed. I was really excited for it, and I made a mental note to myself that I said, you know what? I can't wait for the day that I'm going to be asked to be on that show. And that means that I have already worked hard and I've already accomplished, or started to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish on this platform. And the fact that it's already come to fruition so soon, I can't even tell you guys the level of excitement that I have, because that's such a big milestone for me. Those are the things that I am in control over when it comes to my channel and my brand here. So those are the ones that really hit hard with me, because even though, like I said, the channel is growing and the family is starting to expand, the YouTube subscriber numbers is something that I have absolutely no control over, besides just constantly creating the content. But the fact that this was something that was a fruit of me doing that same exact thing, and recognizing that YouTube is not a sprint, that it's a marathon, and it's just like grind away and do the most and the best that you can every single day with this platform. And to say that Wednesday I'm going to be on Creators on the Come Up, man, that's super exciting for me. So yeah, that's a little bit of more news, because that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Like, with meeting up with Alicia on Wednesday, landing the editing gig, connecting with Doc Rock, and shooting B-roll for my YouTube video edit, on top of being a full-time dad and taking care of my son. He also had like his therapy. For those of you asking, Aiden's doing fine. He actually started his therapy treatments again now that things are opening up again. So he's taking therapy 2 times a week. So that was also added to the schedule. All of this was crammed in there, and somehow I'm still awake. Somehow I'm still awake, because I tell you, like, even earlier today I was exhausted. I went, got a coffee. Let me finish that off. Yep, got some coffee just to get some extra caffeine, because I was feeling run down. I really was. So, but that's why I said it was such an action-packed weekend personally. And then on top of that, not too much camera news. That's why this today's live stream is a little bit off of the norm. So hopefully next week I have some more information about hardware. And once again, I'm gonna go check to see if we have any other questions in the chat. Okay, so Sammy is saying, hey, what's up? Okay, did you change the lighting in the key light? Actually, I didn't, Sammy. Let me know what you think. I did make a modification because I felt like it was coming in too hot. But if it's still like a bit too hot, then it could be my ISO settings. Let me know what you think. But another thing that actually changed with the colors now that I noticed on the live stream more than anything is that I am using the new Mac M1 Mini, and that's running the new software, Big Sur, right? That's what it's called, I believe. Yep, the Big Sur. Okay. And running Big Sur has got all of these pink and orange hue colors, and they've been casting a lot coming off of the screen right here. And this is how I can tell you, not only is it being cast on my face, but you can see it on the microphone. Let me see if I can scoot out of it here. So now if you're looking at the microphone now, you're able to see all of like the magenta hues and everything being cast all over it, and that's coming from the monitors. It's pretty cool because it matches my lights in the back. All right, so Dr. Elo saying hi to Sammy. He's saying, wow, that's amazing. Dr. Elo saying, congrats on the editing job, my friend. Very happy for you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That's just one step towards full-time content creation. And I really do like editing videos. So the fact that I like it, I'm pretty good at it, and I know that I will be getting better at it. And it's just a work in progress. You're a mini editor for Doc. Yeah, that's like, it's amazing. Like you set your mind out for the intent, and the world reciprocates. You know, like you put yourself out there, and you'll see that you're gonna get more than what you probably ever expected. I gotta tell you guys, I'll mention this again for those of you who've never heard me say it. I love Gary Vee. I think he's like my spirit animal. I saw him say something the other day, which is also, it just sticks because it makes sense. He says a lot of people out here are trying to go 3-0 and 4-0. You know, they're trying to make decisions, and they're trying to make 0 mistakes. That's impossible. You're never gonna be able to be mistake free. And because he realizes this, he doesn't ponder, he doesn't waste too much time on any decision. He'll make a decision quick, and people be like, hey, you didn't even think about it. He goes, it doesn't matter, because you see, you're trying to go 3-0. He's like, no, I'm trying to win the game 119-92. And the only way to get to those high numbers, right, of like I won comparative to I lost, is not by overthinking every single play. You have to just play the game the way it's meant to be played, and you're not gonna win every single one, so you gotta shoot your shot and continue. These are all sports metaphors, you know. So with that being said, it just makes so much sense, because you have to shoot your shot. You're not gonna make every single one, but knowing that you're gonna make more than you're not is always what's gonna leave you towards the win. And that's how every basketball game is ever played. You take more shots, you make more of them by percentage, and you end up winning the game. It's never 112-0. You know, there's always the like the opposition, and they're gonna score their goals as well. But just as long as that, like when the buzzer sounds, you have more points than they do, or basically at the end of the day, you've made more positive decisions than negative, then you're always gonna benefit. And that helps you in pretty much any aspect of your life, especially business. Says not a mini editor, but the editor, says Dr. Elo. Yeah, but I think he just meant because I got my new Mac 1 M Mini, and that thing is an editing beast. Like, I didn't get the high fancy one, but I see that in my future, you know. But I started with this one, and that goes back to that aspect of don't take time for granted, because you can sit here and waste time, and people will sit here and be like, oh, I'm gonna wait for the new MX1 or the M1X or the M2, whatever they decide calling it, right? The new Apple processor with the new this and the new that. I'm like, in the global chip shortage, when is that actually gonna hit your hands? So I said, you know what? When that hits the market, if it's available, then I will think about it. But right now, that's not available. What is? Ooh, the M1 with 8 gigs for under $1,000. Okay, throw that my way. And that has increased my production tenfold. That now I know that I have the ability to become the editor that I want to become, and that I have an adequate tool to get me started in the right direction. Now, is this going to be the end all be all of my editing machines? I really doubt it. Especially the way that I am, I know that I'm going to be working on bigger projects in the future that is going to require those things. But I'm learning so much right now with the system that I have, and I'm accomplishing so much more than my previous machine that is an absolute no-brainer to have picked up this base Mac M1 Mini that's going to give me the ability to do the things that I want to do. Man, that was good. I'm going to try to clip that one out. Sammy says sorry for my loss. Thank you, Sammy. But like I said, life's a hell of a ride. Nobody makes it out alive. And I don't say that to be mean or to be like rude, but I think also go back to Gary Vee, my spirit animal. He says that all the time. People ask him like, oh, if I had one thing, if you could only say one thing to motivate somebody, what would you say? He says, you're going to die. Remember that, because it's going to happen to everyone. So make the most of the time that you have. Do not waste it. Recognize, I say this every week when I close out, thank you for sharing your time. It's your most precious commodity, and it means the world that you spend it here with me. And I can't emphasize that enough, because I actually grasp that concept. And Doc Rock on the live stream, when he was announcing that I am going to be helping him out, excuse me, because I'm trying not to get a bit emotional, because Doc Rock surprised me with a very moving and touching speech about me. And he mentioned a couple of times that I'm an extraordinary individual because of the fact that I decided to not let obstacles get in my way, and that I'm taking action towards the goals that I want. And I don't know if it's because it's been just exactly a year since my mom passed, that it means that much to me. I just know that she's looking down and that she's proud. She's proud because I didn't crumble. Sorry, guys. Not sorry, but excuse me. Sorry that I have to just wipe my face. But yeah. So Doc, if you're listening, just to let you know that what you said really meant a lot to me because of that fact. Because I know my mom would be proud because I didn't stop. Odds could be stacked against me. Doesn't matter. No excuses, just results. And no matter what, like right now, I don't even know how many weeks this has been, because I've been keeping kind of sort of count, but I would say I think I'm at either 28 or 29 weeks consecutively doing this live stream. And that's why I say once again, I thank every single one of you for coming out here and spending your time with me, because this is exactly where I want to be. I feel here and I feel part of my family, the family that we're creating here, CameraJunkie. All right. Dr. Hilo says,
May mom rest in peace, brother. My respects. Sorry for your loss. Words of wisdom. He goes, yes, that's amazing. Kippy says, well done on the collab. Nice date too. It's my anniversary. Congratulations, sir. Here, let me. There we go. An applause for Kippy and his anniversary. Give me 1 second, guys. Just had to clear that frog from my throat. It says, very good. Aiden is doing good, my friend. Yes. Oh, Kelly's here saying, stopping through to say hello. How you doing, Kelly? My vivid life. Sammy says, wow. Kippy says, hang in there, bro. Dr. Elo says, we got you, bro. Hey, man, it's all in the best way possible. And that's why I tell you guys, like, I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative of so many things. So grateful that I was able to communicate and find the LGL community, to find Doc Rock. And on some other news, I did put an update on my Buy Me a Coffee link. I set a goal because just like I have been verbalizing all of the other things that I've wanted to accomplish, I am verbalizing this as well. I'm doing everything in my power to meet up with a lot of you content creators, including Doc Rock, Professor Nez, so many that are going to be at the People of Video conference in Albany in October. And I'm already putting the wheels in motion to find myself there no matter what. And that's what I'm committed to. So I put that up there. So if anyone, wants to help me in reaching my goal to getting to People of Video conference in about like 3 months, I'm going to be doing everything in my power to get there. So that's one of my next goals, and I'm super excited because I know that just like everything else, I'm going to achieve that goal, and that come October, I'm going to be at the People of Video conference, hanging out with so many of you awesome content creators. Yep. All right, so let me go check back. Dr. Elo says he'll be there at the People of Video conference. Yep, I'm like so excited. I just know that I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I know that I'm gonna get there. But that is it. I think, I want to say a special let me reverse that. A very special thank you to Raphael Ludwig. He came here to hang out in my very first multicast. I think it was just all the situation with YouTube because I wasn't able to broadcast anything. Hopefully next week I'm going to try the same thing again through Clubhouse. What I'm going to do is that, Raphael, if you're going to hang out, I was just going to hang out a little bit in Clubhouse now that I'm going to close down the live stream. So anyone who is in here on YouTube and wants to hang out in Clubhouse for a little bit, I'm going to be here for the next 15 minutes to see if anyone comes in. And if not, then I'll just be closing that down just the same. But as of right now, I want to thank everyone for coming out, hanging out with me, as always, on a Saturday night, spending your time with me, because it is your most precious commodity. If you found value in anything that I've said or in any motivation in anything that I said, I tell you to just leave me a good thumbs up, or if there's something that you would like to message me, I answer all of my comments, so be sure to leave a comment down underneath the video. So as always, everyone, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate every single one of you. Be safe, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all here next week because we're gonna do it all over again. 10:55 Eastern time. And we're gonna get things popping. Hopefully next week I will have the ability to schedule the live stream so that I can, you know, blast it out on Twitter and all those places to give you guys some more time. And also I'm going to be you know, doing the same thing and multicasting onto Clubhouse. So Dr. Elo just showed up there. So yeah, so now for, like I said, the next 15 minutes we'll see how many people come in, and we'll see where the conversation goes from Clubhouse. We're gonna be spinning it off to there, and as always, thank you for hanging out, and I will see you next time.
Do you love your camera but wish some of the buttons were easier to get to? This is how I fix the situation. I get out my trusty hot glue gun and apply a small amount of glue on the desired button. It makes any button easier to click. Also, it helps identify buttons without having to look. It's non-destructive and protects the text from wear and tear. Mr. Camera Junkie's tip of the day.